Hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. This is the daily show that equips team leaders to lead their way through the challenges they face every single day. So today, and for the rest of this week, we still have my wife and business partner, Jen Grau, on the line with us and on the call with us. I'm down here in Florida visiting my mom, and Jen is holding the fort down at home. It's nice to see my office from afar. And, today we're going to continue this talk about trust. And how you doing today, Jen?
Doing great.
All right. So, yesterday we talked about, that whole thing about how beliefs factor into your trust, right? And how it goes all the way back to our childhood. So considering the beliefs and trusts, what I'm hearing is that beliefs come from what we see or hear repeatedly in our childhood and all the way up, right?
Yes.
So what does that do to work performance or productivity?
So our beliefs are influenced by our leaders' behaviors directly and possibly even indirectly. And that impacts our behaviors and our actions in the workplace. And if we see a connection between the leaders of the organization and upper management or other organizational figures such as CEOs or just executives, and they are standing behind the leader and upholding their behavior as acceptable or correct, and we don't trust that leader, then we are going to quickly make the connection that the organization, the upper management, the CEO is not trustworthy either. And that is when you will start to see really low and average trust play out in very negative ways in the organization. And it's going to hit job performances all the way to referrals, people, clients that you know, and people that you're trying to bring in. Because we are bent towards recognizing the negative, that fallout can seem sometimes to be really rapid and very widespread. An employee or employees who have low trust or they've totally lost trust in their leadership, it's going to hold them back. They're going to be less inclined to participate. They're going to stop contributing. They may be late to work. They may refuse to stay late. They might not even come to work. And they might just stop providing that top-notch work that you have come to know or expect. And they may just decide to stop being a team player altogether. They may, this may go as far as them not relaying information regarding problems or key information on projects, and sharing in general just may completely just be reduced. So it might become that the environment is just really filled with tension and even shortness between people, terse comments, even maybe outright rebellion or disdain for people, that they reflect this in the things that they say to each other. And all those behaviors, they just really lead to a slowdown in productivity, and it evaporates momentum, and it just takes it from this relational issue where trust begins to a monetary issue where it's hitting the bottom line. And Stephen Covey wrote in his book, The Speed of Trust, that when trust goes down, cost goes up.
So that's real interesting. And one thing that comes to mind is, how does the leader factor into all this?
Well, the leaders have a major role in all of this. And some leaders just won't understand the depth of what is happening or determine the root cause. It takes time and it takes energy. And a lot of leaders feel like they're pulled in so many other directions that their energy is best spent elsewhere, where they're very task oriented, and this is a very relational side of it. So some leaders will think, if I just leave it, it's going to correct itself on its own, and it's going to go away on its own. And very few leaders will actually make the effort to address it and rectify the situation to start rebuilding that trust. It's kind of a delayed reaction, or it comes too late, and great leaders take that first step and they make that first move, and they start to adjust immediately. But in a lot of cases, it isn't until the changes noticed monetarily, that money side of it, that they're going to take action. Because when you start losing people and it takes money to train and hire and do, headhunters and all these kinds of things, they don't see the value in going ahead and taking action. And at that point, it's going to take even more money, and it may take a longer period of time before things start to turn around. And I say that as soon as you start seeing some uncharacteristic behaviors in your team members or your employees, do your due diligence and investigate, find out where that is coming from. A lot of things, it may not be work related. It may be something that's going on at home, but it's really, really good to do the investigating and find out if there is a trust issue, because the trust is the thing that seems to be at the root cause of so many things. So you have an opportunity to gain back trust very quickly if you take those steps immediately. And if you do it at a deeper level by approaching it sooner than later. So one thing that you really have to keep in the front of your mind is that you assumed the risk, and now you have to mitigate that risk. And it starts with leading yourself in this situation.
And that the way you answered that is awesome. And that's all about, running to your challenge, because most leaders do not. They have, it's just like conflict, lack of trust, all of this happens, and a lot of leaders run away. They run away from it. They don't run to the challenge. They don't want to resolve it. They don't want to. Yeah. So as I was saying before the dog started barking, the real true leaders run to that challenge of trust and lack of trust. And they are the ones that lead themselves. And, as leaders, I think we got to trust ourselves, and then we got to set our people up to so that we can trust them. Then they'll come around and start trusting us. But
Absolutely.
like we've said before, and kind of like how Simon Sinek answered your question when you asked him, it was like, leaders got to start the way. Leaders have to trust first.
Absolutely.
Expect others. So, hey, let's just stop right there. We've got a ton more questions to ask, and we're going to finish up the rest of the week on this, but we'll stop right there. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And until tomorrow, run to your challenges.